Hi, everyone. Welcome back to StoryStream, where we make learning fun and exciting. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on our latest educational adventures. Are you ready to dive into a world of knowledge, explore fascinating topics, and boost your learning skills? Whether you're here to improve your English, understand complex concepts, or just curious about the world around you, you've come to the right place. Emily had always been fascinated by lighthouses. Their tall, stoic presence against the ever-changing sea was both comforting and mysterious. So, when she inherited her great-uncle's old lighthouse on the coast of Maine, she felt as though a childhood dream had come true. Her great-uncle, Arthur, had been a solitary man, known for his eccentricity and love of the sea. Emily had only met him a handful of times, but his stories about the lighthouse had always captivated her. He had often spoken of it as though it were a living entity, a guardian of the coast with secrets of its own. The lighthouse stood on a rugged cliff, its white and red stripes standing out against the gray sky. Emily arrived on a foggy morning, the air filled with the scent of salt and seaweed. As she approached the towering structure, she felt a shiver of excitement and trepidation. The front door creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase winding upwards. The interior was musty, filled with the smell of old wood and brine. Emily's footsteps echoed as she climbed the stairs, each step taking her closer to the lantern room at the top. The lantern room was a circular space with windows all around, offering a panoramic view of the sea. In the center stood the old Fresnel lens, its glass facets catching the light and scattering it into 1,000 rainbows. Emily ran her fingers over the cool glass, imagining the countless sailors it had guided safely to shore. As she explored the lighthouse, she found her great-uncle's journal in a dusty drawer. It was filled with meticulous entries about the weather, ships that had passed by, and strange occurrences he had witnessed. One entry, in particular, caught her eye. July 15th, 1985. The light behaved strangely last night. It flickered, even though there was no storm. I felt a presence, as if someone was watching me. Must investigate further. Emily's curiosity was piqued. She decided to stay in the lighthouse for a while, to see if she could uncover any of its secrets. She spent her days exploring the surrounding cliffs and beaches, and her nights reading through Arthur's journal and keeping watch from the lantern room. One night, as she sat in the lantern room, the light began to flicker. At first, she thought it was just her imagination, but then it happened again. The flickering grew more intense, and she felt a chill run down her spine. It was as if the lighthouse was trying to communicate with her. Suddenly, she heard a faint whisper, carried on the wind. It was a man's voice, distant and indistinct. Emily's heart raced. She looked around, but there was no one else in the room. She strained to hear the voice, but it faded away, leaving her with only the sound of the waves crashing against the cliffs. Determined to uncover the mystery, Emily delved deeper into Arthur's journal. She found more entries describing the strange occurrences, each one more unsettling than the last. It seemed that Arthur had become obsessed with the idea that the lighthouse was haunted. August 3rd, 1985. The whispering is getting louder. I can almost make out words now. It sounds like someone calling for help. I must find out who it is. Emily decided to investigate further. She started by researching the history of the lighthouse. She discovered that it had been built in the early 1800s and had a long history of shipwrecks and tragedies. One story, in particular, stood out: the tale of the Sea King, a ship that had gone down in a storm in 1856. Many lives were lost, and it was said that the souls of the drowned sailors still haunted the coast. Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the whispers she had heard were connected to the Sea King. She began to dig deeper, speaking to local historians and poring over old records. She learned that the captain of the Sea King, Captain James Reynolds, had been a brave and respected man. His wife, Eliza, had been waiting for him on shore when the ship went down. Heartbroken, she had spent the rest of her days tending to the lighthouse, hoping that one day he would return. One stormy night, Emily was in the lantern room, the wind howling outside. The light began to flicker again, and she heard the whispering voice, clearer than ever before. This time, she could make out the words, "Help me, find me." Emily felt a surge of determination. She had to find out what had happened to Captain Reynolds. She remembered a hidden trapdoor in the floor of the lantern room that her great-uncle had mentioned in his journal. With trembling hands, she located the trapdoor and opened it, revealing a narrow staircase leading down into darkness. She descended the stairs, her flashlight beam cutting through the thick darkness. The air grew colder, and she felt a growing sense of unease. At the bottom of the stairs, she found herself in a small, hidden room. The walls were lined with old maps and charts, and in the center of the room stood a weathered wooden chest. Emily opened the chest and gasped. Inside were the personal belongings of Captain Reynolds, a journal, a compass, and a locket with a portrait of Eliza. She picked up the journal and began to read. The final entry sent shivers down her spine. November 12th, 1856. The storm is upon us. I fear this may be my last entry. If anyone finds this, please tell Eliza I love her. I will find a way back to her, no matter what. Tears filled Emily's eyes as she realized the depth of the love between James and Eliza. She felt a connection to their story, a desire to help reunite their spirits. She carefully took the items back to the lantern room and placed them on a table. As she did, the light flickered again, and the whispering voice returned, stronger and more urgent. "Thank you, Eliza." Emily knew what she had to do. She took the locket and walked to the edge of the cliff, where the waves crashed below. She held the locket out over the sea and whispered, "James, Eliza is waiting for you." The wind picked up, and the sea seemed to calm for a moment. A sense of peace washed over Emily, and she felt a presence beside her, warm and comforting. The light of the lighthouse shone steadily, no longer flickering. From that night on, the lighthouse remained calm and peaceful. Emily continued to tend to it, feeling a deep connection to its history and the love story of James and Eliza. The whispers never returned, but she often felt a gentle presence, as if they were watching over her, grateful for her help in reuniting them. And so, the lighthouse stood as a beacon of love and hope, guiding sailors safely to shore and reminding all who saw it of the enduring power of love.